Violence has been with people since the beginning of time. It exists across all cultures. One might say it's, despite being a very complex, not completely well understood behavior, it's a very basic, fundamental human behavior. It's always been with us.
People in this day and age are brainwashed and programmed like a computer at being nothing more than puppets. This nation, this country is founded in violence. Violent delights tend to have violent ends. Madness is something rare in individuals, but in groups, people, and ages, it is a rule.
I'd like to point out something called the dark figure of crime. This is something that criminologists have talked about for quite some time. And it gets at the idea that reported crimes are a vast underestimate of the actual number of crimes that happen, because most crimes are not reported to the police. Reported crime underestimates true crime rate, and by some estimates, the actual crime rate is about 5 to 10 times higher than the reported crime rate.
Serial killers do on a small scale what governments do on a large one. They are a product of the times, and these are bloodthirsty times.
So there's been biological theories of violence. For example, people have talked about the imbalance of neurotransmitters or chemicals in our brain. People have talked about genetics, so there is no gene for crime, there is no gene for violence. So some of the indicator risk factors would be certain mental illnesses, which we know have neurochemical or genetic components. And finally, there's a host of what you could call psychological theories that would essentially hold that different personal characteristics, individual differences between us, some of those may be more likely to lead to violent behavior.
As far as Satan is concerned, I believe in a malevolent being. His description eludes me, but I have felt powers that are evil.
About 70,000 people are attending the 9-day art and music celebration, which culminates with the burning of a 40-foot effigy made of wood. In the past, attendees have tried to run into the flames as a symbol of rebirth.
The Burning Man Festival in Nevada after a man broke through security and ran into the fire.
Larry Harvey, a Burning Man co-founder, spoke to Charlie Rose.
Do you want to be a proselytizer?
Well, we want to affect the world.
You want to what? Change the world?
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
We've just transferred the event. It's been privately held all these years, by myself and my 5 partners. And we just surrendered ownership, and we've given it to a nonprofit that has been created, the Burning Man Project. And its aim is to disseminate our culture at a global scale.
So there'll be Burning Mans everywhere.
Well, that would just be the beginning. We look at our event as an immersive experience that brings change into people's lives individually, helps them to form relationships socially once they leave. There are communities, Burning Man communities on 5 continents now.
The man who ran into the flames at the Burning Man Festival has died. Last night, the man broke through 2 layers of security guards to run into the flames at the ceremony.
Authorities say 41-year-old Aaron Joel Mitchell sprinted past security guards and into the flames of a giant man-shaped structure that had been set ablaze Saturday night, September 2nd.
So it's a retreat from the normal world, that's for sure. And while you're there, Well, we have 10 principles. They emerged from our own experience, and they describe our culture.
They're interesting principles, yeah.
Radical self-expression.
Right. Larry Page, CEO of Google, he proposed a tech Burning Man.
I remember, yeah.
Yes, I bet you do. This was in May 2013, keynote speech. Here's what he said. We don't want our world to change too fast, but maybe we could set apart a piece of the world. I like going to Burning Man, for example, an environment where people can change new things. I think as technologists, we should have some safe places where we can try out new things and figure out the effect on society, with the effect on people without having to deploy it to the whole world. You know, it's like what it is a laboratory.
It is a laboratory.
Get to a bizarre and deadly mystery in the Bronx. It was all part of the strange scene that police encountered today. What you see there, a naked man ranting and raving on the street.
This man, who asked not to be identified, was working the register at his bodega when the naked guy walked in. He says the man was foaming at the mouth when he grabbed and scratched his hand.
From his mouth, he gets in the white thing.
When you saw him with no clothes.
It's scary.
The naked guy passed Fatima Reyes' store. She said the stranger was making bizarre sounds like a bird.
He was coming down the block. He was naked. He was walking like this.
Face to face on the street, Angel Luis Heredia was stunned. Angel says the naked guy would not stop talking about the Bible.
He kept on saying heaven on earth, heaven on earth.
When police were called to 1191 Anderson Avenue just before 5:30 Tuesday evening, they came across something very unusual. While performing CPR, they found rosary beads stuffed down her throat. Earlier Tuesday, police sources were called to the same area. A naked man was in the street, incoherent, making comments about the devil. Investigators searching the apartment of a 33-year-old woman. Police sources say he appeared to be under the influence of drugs.
Taken into custody and brought to the hospital for psychiatric evaluation.
Yeah, Heather, this is a big mystery. Why? What caused this guy, Lawrence Boroyak, to snap and turn on his own family members, including two who loved him, and now he's charged with killing them.
You know, why he turned on them as he did is unbeknown to us. I'm not sure what the motive was.
He just would talk about like he was God, like he believed he was God.
As investigators found, Boroyak had posted threats on Facebook.
The Collins and their family and children. Soon after, the Warren Police Department issued a press release, and Boroyak was spotted near 6 Mile and Ryan by a civilian. Taken into custody, he had blood spatter on his sweatshirt and a drop of blood on his eyeglasses. The medical examiner stated the cause of death was blunt force trauma.
Mr. Borowiak, you are being arraigned on a felony warrant. You have been charged with the following offenses. Count 1 is homicide, first-degree murder under multiple...
Borowiak is charged for the murders of his aunt and uncle, 66-year-old Cynthia Collins and 67-year-old Stephen Collins.
Why would you murder people that actually raised you, cared about you, supported you?
Gonna make a change over
She can't imagine how anyone could be capable of such a brutal and evil crime.
It take an animal to do something like this.
Accused of setting the apartment on fire,
leading him to murder his ex-girlfriend, burn her apartment, and kill his own son.
Not in a million years I would think this could happen.
Good afternoon, sir. You've been charged with 2 counts of murder.
20-year-old Larry Williams told deputies that a demon took over him.
According to his arrest affidavit, Williams stated that the demon that takes him over had stabbed Diamond and burned the apartment.
mother is in the hospital, accused of trying to kill herself after stabbing her baby boy to death. It's an horrific crime that has left a neighborhood in southwest Detroit in shock.
Of course, police, they see nearly everything, but the captain's saying that this is something that nobody should have to see.
Neighbors heard first responders emotionally break down at the scene.
This is something unnatural and no one should have to see.
Each of these charges allegedly occurred in the city of Warren on or about September the 1st, 2017. The court will now advise you have the right to remain silent. Any mistake can use against you. You have the right to have an attorney present during all questioning and in all proceedings. If you cannot afford an attorney, you have the right to a court-appointed counsel or public defender. You request a court-appointed lawyer.
Authorities say doctors confirmed he was not under the influence of alcohol. They don't know why he ran into the fire.
The final burn did go on as scheduled Sunday night, albeit under heavy security.
YouTube video from this year's event in the Black Rock Desert, about 100 miles north of Reno. The local sheriff says the man...
About 50,000 people were at the event. It's not clear if Mitchell's actions were intentional or whether he was on drugs.
The local sheriff says the man ran through a human chain of security officers last night. He was rescued by firefighters and later died at a hospital.
Perfect world most people seek shall never come to pass, and it's going to get worse.
What do you want the world to know about you?
The world has been fed many lies about me. I have read very few truths.
Who are you?
Just a guy. Just a guy. As far as Satan is concerned, I believe in a malevolent being. His description eludes me, but I have felt powers that are evil.
Refuses to stop and eventually pulls out a knife.
Do not pull that knife. Drop the knife. Do not move closer. Do not move closer. Do not move closer.
Wait, there's against God.
Puppets. This nation, this country is founded in violence. Violent delights tend to have violent ends. Madness is something rare in individuals, but in groups, people, and ages, it is a rule.
I'd like to point out something called the dark figure of crime. This is something that criminologists have talked about for quite some time, and it gets at the idea that reported crimes are a vast underestimate of the actual number of crimes that happen, because most crimes are not reported to the police. Reported crime underestimates true crime rate, and by some estimates, the actual crime rate is about 5 to 10 times higher than the reported crime rate.
Serial killers do on a small scale what governments do on a large one. They are a product of the times, and these are bloodthirsty times.
So there's been biological theories of violence, frequently to lead to violent behavior.
As far as Satan is concerned, I believe in a malevolent being. His description eludes me, but I have felt powers that are evil.
About 70,000 people are attending the 9-day art and music celebration, which culminates with the burning of a 40-foot effigy made of wood. In the past, attendees have tried to run into the flames as
violence has been with people since the beginning of time. It exists across all cultures. One might say it's, despite being a very complex, not completely well understood behavior, it's a very basic, fundamental human behavior. It's always been with us.
People in this day and age are brainwashed and programmed like a computer at being nothing more than...
For example, people have talked about the imbalance of neurotransmitters or chemicals in our brain. People have talked about genetics, so there is no gene for crime, there is no gene for violence. So some of the indicator risk factors would be certain mental illnesses, which we know have neurochemical or genetic components. And finally, there's a host of what you could call psychological theories that would essentially hold that different personal characteristics, individual differences between us, some of those may be more like